Good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this edition of the Verbal Passion, where we get into the story of Jineavah's nightmare. You see, in the city of Bigger Rush, it seemed just about everything and anything was legal. But the thing that was most popular amongst the nearly lawless city was bare-fisted boxing, of which Gleason, the Nightmare Richards, was the reigning champ. He was a handsome, well-built man, Gleason was, which kept him single and slinging plenty of dick in any chick he thought was a 10. Yeah, you see, you had to be a 10 to pluck with Gleason Richards. He didn't skeet with no wet puppies, a quote that was most famous of his. Ugly chicks Gleason referred to as wet puppies, and frankly, they had nothing coming from your boy. And I do mean nothing, not even so much as a hi or hello. He fought nightly, and his winnings kept his pockets fat as jet. Jed, man, Gleason was so well paid, he paid other people's rent and mortgages and didn't blink about it. Word on the streets and elsewhere was that Gleason Richards was a killer in the ring, but a jewel of a gentleman to get to know. As was suggested before, all the pretty ladies loved Gleason the Nightmare Richards. And the reason I said his entire name, his entire boxing name at least, is because the sisters that were so enamored for him loved all of him, even though he would never commit to any of them. At present, he was 30 years of age and was born Gleason Antonio Richards. His moms died at birth, so he was raised by his father and grandmother. He had his father's ways in that he wouldn't marry. He felt marriage was a thing white folks did, what with all the fancy tuxes and limousines and all. All Gleason really knew was it was too much pussy in the world for him to cling to one for life, and that was his philosophy. Fridays were Gleason's lucky night. He referred to Friday nights as Jack Johnson night. And like Jack Johnson, so far out of 40 fights, he remained undefeated. It was the way he moved that kept him winning. Yeah, Mr. Nightmare had a strategy and mindset that put him 2 to 4 steps ahead of other fighters. And before he, they, or anyone else knew it, Gleason's opponents were on their asses and being counted out. Well, tonight would be no different. He was going up against the haymaker, Henry Boudreaux. The haymaker was running neck and neck with Gleason. Tonight, here's how things would go down. In the first round, the haymaker looked good. The crowd chanted loudly, "Haymaker, haymaker, KO, KO." Now, you would think this would dishearten the Nightmare, but to the contrary, it only sent a surge of energy to your boy. The first 2 rounds belonged to the haymaker for sure, but in round 3, Gleason the Nightmare Richards made the haymaker Henry Boudreaux learn his name. Richards shuffled back with the Ali shuffle and closed the haymaker's right eye with a swift 1-2-3 combo. The haymaker wobbled. His legs were weak, and he staggered behind Richards' power. Gleason had the haymaker now, and he knew it. After the 3-piece combo, Richards went to the haymaker's body. He was unmerciful, and the haymaker held his guard in front of his face to hide his pain. One quick moment, Richards eased off the haymaker. The haymaker weakly stepped forward. That was a cue to the Nightmare. Richards KO'd the haymaker with 2 vicious uppercuts to the chin and a right cross to the temple. The haymaker rested peacefully in oblivion, and Gleason the Nightmare Richards' hands were raised in victory once more. But a strange thing happened to him as he stood on the middle turnbuckle pummeling his chest. He saw someone in the crowd. Shit, man, before the only thing Gleason knew to be this powerful was a punch to the gut. And that's just what seeing her, this woman, was doing to Gleason right now. The cheering crowd's noise and chanting became like low white noise from a cheap boombox. Though his manager and team held him high on their shoulders, Gleason didn't even notice it. His eyes were locked on the first woman he would ever love in his life, and her name was Jineavah. He tapped Mimi, the big buff guy that held him on his shoulders, so he would let him down. Amongst all the noise and the crowd and confusion, Gleason searched for the beautiful dame he saw in the audience. A cheering dude moved to the side, and there she was. Gleason's heart was in his mouth. As if he wasn't sweating enough from his bout with the haymaker, he began to get hot and sweat more. Who was this chick, man? Gleason had to know. He turned quickly, spotting Mimi. Hey, Mimi, Gleason said. Check this out, man. See that sister right there in the royal blue coat? Mimi squinted at first. He didn't see Jineavah, but looking more carefully, scanning the crowd in the direction that Gleason was pointing, Mimi spotted who he was talking about. Mimi looked at Gleason with a sheepish, mischievous grin and said, What, you trying to holler? Gleason furrowed his brow at Mimi in a what do you think, you asshole kind of way. Mimi put his hands out in front of him and motioned for the nightmare to calm down. Yo, man, I'll see to it that she knows you're interested. Mimi said. Gleason smiled with approval. He had to know this fine-ass dame's name. He planned, Gleason did, to make her his new woman. After all the excitement was over from the fight, Gleason was just sitting on the sofa in his living room, sipping a Corona when his phone rang. To his pleasant surprise, the smooth, feminine baritone voice of Jineavah answered upon his reception. Hey! Gosh, it's so nice of you to call, Gleason said, brimming with excitement. The conversation went on for 3 hours. At the end of it, Jineavah agreed to a dinner date with the Nightmare. Though he indeed carried the name Nightmare, Jineavah's affirming response to his request for a night out with him was a dream come true. All Gleason knew was that he'd never felt this way about a piece of ass. Then he hated himself for thinking that way about her. That night, a series of unfamiliar feelings washed over Gleason. The anxiety he felt wouldn't let him sleep. He had butterflies in his stomach, but he only knew this feeling when he was about to fight. What the pluck was going on? Girlfriend, Jineavah had Gleason up out of bed and pacing the floor. He almost picked up the phone and called her, but he stopped himself when he looked at the clock and it read 1 a.m. Damn, man. Any other broad, he'd have just phoned and boned. But that was just it. Jineavah wasn't just another broad. She was a lady he hoped to impress and make his own for the first time in his life. This last thought calmed him down, and thoughts of visions of him at the altar with Jineavah lulled the nightmare to sleep. To his utter surprise, at 9 a.m. sharp, Jineavah rang his phone. As he was just waking up and not expecting the call, and not used to really receiving calls at 9 in the morning, Gleason fumbled the phone like a football player on a rainy Monday night on the field. Chit, he cursed as he dropped the phone and it slid under the bed. Fortunately, he had just one more ring before his phone went to voicemail. Gleason got the phone and answered just in time, and a little winded from having to grab the phone from under the bed. Hello. Hey, Jineavah. How nice of you to call. Good morning to you. Oh, said Jineavah. I hope I didn't wake you. I need to ask if we can do brunch instead of dinner, and can we do that today? Oh, yeah, Gleason smiled. That's no problem. What spot you talking about? I can meet you there in a jiffy. Ooh. I like a man that isn't afraid to be put on the spot. The address is 1111 Riverfront Drive, a place called the Ideal Surreal. I'll see you there 11:30ish. You got it? You got it, said Gleason, and the call disconnected. Now, this was like getting a knockout punch in a vicious brawl, and Gleason the Nightmare Richards was hella happy. What had he done to earn such a jewel? His heart skipped a beat, and he made for he and Jineavah's sweet rendezvous. Gleason made it to the Ideal Surreal just in time, and to Jineavah's sheer delight. She loved it when a man was on time, punctual, that is. It was her inner signal that she was important to him. In her dazzling emerald green halter top and in her dazzling emerald green halter top and bell bottom outfit with matching hoop and dangle beaded earrings, Jineavah wasn't hard for Gleason to spot. Not to mention, when she saw him, Jineavah did a little light wave to get his attention. It wasn't really necessary. It took Gleason all his inner strength to keep his tongue in his mouth and his manhood from rising up. Gleason was pretty sharp himself. He wore a white V-neck sweater with an open collar, pastel pink button down on the inside. His pants were white as well, and he matched the shirt and pant ensemble with pink earrings and shoes. His hair, as always, was in a roundly shaped mohawk, and his scent was that Murray K's domain. Like I said, both persons were looking fly. As the soft wah-wah of interlocutors and interlocutresses filled the air, along with the soft piano music that complemented the classy ambiance of the spot, Jineavah broke the ice as Gleason took his seat and pulled his chair to the table. My, handsome and punctual, she said, stretching forth her hand. Gleason took Jineavah's hand and graciously but softly kissed it. Just as he was about to pay Jineavah a compliment about how nice she looked, Gleason was interrupted by the male waiters. Good afternoon. May I take your order? Oh, Jineavah Daniels. What a pleasant surprise. Gleason could tell right away by Jineavah's cold stare and silence that the waiter's greetings and presence were unwelcome. Jineavah's words would affirm Gleason's conjecture. What are you doing here, William? Jineavah pushed through her teeth. Why, I work here, William said with an arrogant smirk. I'd like another waiter, please. Would you go get someone else to wait on us? We have nothing to discuss, William, and I'd rather not do business or any other dealings with you, please. Oh, come on, Miss Daniels. As it seemed the waiter William wanted to continue despite the Jineavah's request. Gleason was about to show homeboy what his profession was. He spoke up, giving a warning. Hey, man, there's no need to continue this conversation. The lady has made her request. Would you please just honor it? William laughed, and that's all he needed to do. Before William, Jineavah, or any of the other patrons in the restaurant knew what happened, William was out cold on the floor. Funny thing of it was, Gleason hadn't struck William in the face. He hot punched his ass and put the ninja straight to sleep. Since they hadn't ordered yet, it was no problem for Gleason and Jineavah to quickly grab their belongings and exit the spot. They drove across town to another restaurant. It wasn't as nice as the Ideal Surreal, but it would do in a rush. As they rolled over with Gleason in the driver's seat, the convo went as follows. You want to warn a girl the next time you go throwing blows and leaving men stretched out on the floor? Jineavah spat out in shock at Gleason. You want to warn a ninja the next time we roll up in a spot and some dude you used to pluck works there? Gleason retorted. There was an awkward silence for about 15 seconds, and then, You're right about William, Jineavah said. But I tell you the truth, we are over, and I really appreciate, though you scared the hell out of me doing it, you coming to a gal's defense, you know? It's no problem, said Gleason. And I ain't mean to scare you, but the son of a witch made me mad, Jineavah. I know, Jineavah said. He made me angry too. I just don't want you getting into nothing because of me. I mean, we just met. Yeah, well, said Gleason, if you're going to be my lady, then you should know I'm going to come to your defense. Who else is supposed to? Gleason's tone and passion turned Jineavah on in more ways than one. As was said earlier on in this story, the city of Biggerush was nearly lawless. And though Jineavah Daniels was a beautiful woman to behold, what she did in the streets was dastardly and a cold and callous contradiction to her looks. Tune in next time as we get into this story inside the purple passion called Jineavah's Nightmare.